They were hated by critics. They were laughed out of theaters. Studios tried to bury them, burn the negatives, and forget they ever existed. Today, we are looking at the disasters of the 1970s. These weren't just bad movies. They were ambitious, expensive, and completely misunderstood failures. Films that bombed so hard they nearly ended careers, only to rise from the grave decades later as influential masterpieces. From Disney's Trip to Hell to Sean Connery's biggest regret, let's rank the 10 fantasy disasters that became legends. We start with a movie that every kid in 1979 remembers being confused by. Disney wanted their own Star Wars. They spent $20 million, and a fortune at the time, hired top-tier effects teams, and produced The Black Hole. It was a tonal mess. Too scary for children, too silly for adults. You had cute robots designed to sell toys floating alongside a mad scientist, turning his crew into zombies. And the ending? It literally takes the audience on a psychedelic journey through hell. Critics destroyed it. Star Wars fans mocked it. But looking back, it stands as a monument to risk. The orchestral score is legendary, and the production design is dark, gothic, and completely unique. It reminds us of a time when Disney was willing to traumatize kids just to try something new. At number 9, we have a film that looked outdated the day it premiered. Logan's Run presents a perfect society with one catch. When you turn 30, you die. No exceptions. Released just a year before Star Wars, its special effects looked laughable to audiences. The acting was wooden, and the reviews were harsh. It became a punchline for decades. The future movie that got the future completely wrong. But stick with it. The concept of a youth-obsessed society that disposes of the old is more relevant today than ever. The structure, young people fighting a rigged system, paved the way for the Hunger Games and every dystopian movie that followed. It was a clumsy movie with a brilliant idea. Now things get gritty. Number 8 proves that sometimes man's best friend is the only moral compass left. A boy and his dog is set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Don Johnson, years before Miami Vice, plays a survivor whose only companion is a telepathic dog named Blood. The twist? The dog is smarter and has better morals than the human. This was a black comedy that nobody knew how to market. It was too violent for the mainstream, too weird for the drive-ins. And the ending is one of the darkest punchlines in cinema history, causing audiences to walk out in fury. But the film's gritty, cynical tone became the blueprint for the Mad Max franchise and the Fallout video games. It remains a disturbing, unforgettable slice of 70s cynicism. Number 7 is a creature feature that accidentally became a philosophy lecture. Phase Me 4 is about super intelligent ants taking over the world. It sounds like a cheap B-movie, but it was directed by Saul Bass, the visual genius behind Hitchcock's best title sequences. Bass didn't make a monster movie. He made a film about evolution. The studio panicked. They cut the original 10-minute psychedelic ending where humanity merges with the ants, marketed it as a horror flick, and watched it bomb. For 40 years, the true vision was lost. But when the original footage was rediscovered in 2012, critics finally understood. This wasn't a failed thriller. It was a visionary work of abstract science fiction that was simply too smart for the executives who paid for it. Number 6 is the story of an alien who gets destroyed not by war, but by television and gin. David Bowie stars as an alien seeking water for his dying planet, only to become a billionaire recluse addicted to alcohol and American corruption. Critics in 1976 found it pretentious and disjointed. American audiences wanted Star Wars. They didn't want a depressing art film about capitalism crushing the soul. But Bowie's performance is mesmerizing, largely because he was playing himself, an alien creature trying to survive his own addictions. It is a haunting, beautiful mess that became the blueprint for cerebral sci-fi like Blade Runner. Now we enter the surreal zone. Imagine humans the size of insects, kept as pets by giant blue aliens. Now imagine watching that as a French animated film that looks like a bad acid trip. Fantastic Planet was unlike anything audiences in 1973 had ever seen. The animation was deliberately stiff and ugly. Parents reportedly dragged their screaming children out of theaters. Critics called it inaccessible. But over time, its strange power grew. It became a staple of midnight screenings and influenced everyone from hip-hop artists to the creators of Adventure Time. It's a masterpiece of allegorical sci-fi about oppression that you can never unsee. If Fantastic Planet was a bad trip, number 4 is a spiritual explosion. Alejandro Jodorowsky's The Holy Mountain is a film so insane that 50 years later, it defies description. Funded by John Lennon and Yoko Ono, this movie has no traditional plot. It's a barrage of blasphemous imagery, graphic sexuality, and real animal violence. It was banned in multiple countries. Audiences walked out in disgust. For decades, it vanished due to a feud between the director and the producer. But artists never forgot it. Today, it remains the ultimate cult film, a piece of art so dangerous and ambitious that Hollywood wouldn't dare touch it today. After the madness, we have the Soviet answer to 2001, A Space Odyssey. The Soviet Union wanted a space epic. What director Andrei Tarkovsky gave them was a 3-hour meditation on grief. Solaris is set on a space station orbiting a sentient ocean that manifests the crew's deepest, most painful memories. Western audiences found it excruciatingly slow. The first hour barely mentions space. The sci-fi crowd rejected it as boring art house cinema. But they were wrong. Solaris isn't about space. It's about the inability to escape our own past. It is now recognized as one of the greatest films ever made, proving that sometimes the most alien frontier is the human heart. Number 2 is the horror movie the studio tried to kill. The Wicker Man tells the story of a Christian police officer investigating a missing girl on a remote pagan island. The studio hated it. They cut nearly 15 minutes of footage, destroyed the original negatives, and dumped it into theaters as a B-movie double feature. They thought it was a failure because it lacked jump scares. They didn't understand that the horror wasn't in the shadows, it was in the sunlight. Legendary actor Christopher Lee worked for free because he believed in it so much. And he was right. The film's slow burn tension and shocking finale have made it the godfather of folk horror. Just do yourself a favor. Ignore the Nicolas Cage remake. And finally, at number 1, the undisputed king of what were they thinking, Zardoz. Sean Connery, fresh off James Bond, wearing a red diaper and thigh-high leather boots, worshipping a giant floating stone head that vomits guns. Director John Borman was given total creative freedom, and he used it to make the most deranged film of the decade. It deals with immortality, boredom, and the collapse of civilization, all delivered through dialogue so bizarre, it feels like a hallucination. Critics called it career suicide. Audiences stayed away in droves. It was a catastrophic failure. And yet, it is magnificent. Zardoz is a cult masterpiece precisely because it is so unfiltered. It is a reminder of a time when a major studio would give millions of dollars to a director's wildest, weirdest fever dream. It is a film that demands to be seen, if only to believe it actually exists. These 10 films remind us that failure is just a matter of timing. They were too weird, too dark, or too smart for the 1970s. But today they stand as monuments to risk-taking. Which of these disasters is actually a masterpiece in your eyes? And seriously, would you wear Sean Connery's outfit? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.